Hi everybody, we're just going to play this song to get psyched up for our training. Boys of Summer, Storytelling Summer School. And if you're just entering, I want to know, what songs do you play to get psyched up in summer? This is probably one of my favorites. Showing my age a little bit here, but I mean, Don Henley. It's not go wrong with Don Henley. So let me know, write in the comments. Okay. Enough of this. I love this song so much. So today is the first day of Storytelling Summer School. I am so excited to have you here. Welcome. Let me know who you are, where you're from, where you're watching from. If you're watching from north of Boston like me and you have no air conditioning in your office or your house and you're sweltering, you can't see it. Thankful my webcam does not show how brutally hot it is in my house. But yeah, let me know where you're watching from. Write in the comments your name, and I'm really excited to have you. So we're going to dive right in. This is the first day of Storytelling Summer School. So I'm using BeLive TV. I love BeLive TV, except it will not let me change my name from Julia Gulia because I guess it just wants me to be Julia Gulia, which is fine. I will embrace it. I love that movie, The Wedding Singer. So today is the very, very, very first class. I'm really, really excited to be talking about the 5 types of stories to share on social media. So I have some slides. I feel like when I do the live presentations without slides, I think they're helpful and I have notes, but I feel like people get a lot more out of them, and hey, it's free and why not just do it? Hey, Clarence, watching on my tablet from Mattapan. Shannon says, I'm from Grassroots International, watching from our offices in JP. Awesome. So you guys are hot too. Hopefully you have air conditioning where you are. Martha says, watching in Knoxville, Tennessee in air-conditioned comfort. Well, you have to have it down there, I would believe, Martha. Thanks for joining. Awesome. All right, let's get right into it. I'm really excited. I might pass out from the heat, but I have my iced coffee in my Daenerys Targaryen mug that my husband bought me, which is amazing. If you don't like Game of Thrones, sorry, not sorry. If you do like Game of Thrones, then you obviously like Daenerys and want her to be the queen. Okay, let's get started. So I'm going to shift the slide. Storytelling Summer School, we are here. We know what it is. If you don't know what it is, a little bit about it. It's a 6-week free Facebook live video training. There's also going to be a lot of downloads and planners, other resources that I haven't even really thought of yet. I kind of have an outline for it, but it's mostly based on what you want and your questions. So I'm going to be creating the content kind of as I go. And then the private Facebook group for nonprofit marketers, a lot of you are already in there. I know Martha and Clarence and Shannon are. Oh, Andy joining from the UK. Awesome. Thank you. So make sure you jump into the private Facebook group. That's where you can all exchange ideas and ask questions. And every week, I'll probably be doing this more than once a week. I put one of you in the hot seat and I ask the question that you've asked me to the whole group. And that works really well. Lesson plans. So what we're going to be talking about this week, the 5 types of stories that you need to be sharing, because with every campaign that you do, you need to have a variety of stories. So we're going to talk about some of the types of stories that you can collect. Next week, we're going to talk about specific ways to craft stories to move people from passive to passionate. So rather than just telling the ho-hum story, what can you do to really tell a great story that will activate your supporters? Solutions to the 6 biggest digital storytelling challenges. We all have those, and I come up against those really frequently in a lot of my coaching and consulting meetings. So I thought I would just take an entire session. We'll just break it down. You can send me your challenges that you have, and I'll make sure to address them. I already know the top 6 that I hear a lot, but I'm open to new challenges. So feel free to send those to me if you want via email in the Facebook group. 10 specific ways to use digital storytelling. That's week 4. We'll be showing examples. We'll get really tactical. Week 5 will be the digital storytelling calendar. I'll provide you with a template, and we'll describe a step-by-step way that you can never run out of ideas, because as we all know, coming up with creative ideas for online fundraising campaigns can be pretty challenging. And then 6, battle tools to rock your digital storytelling, tools that I've used, mostly free, some like very, very low cost tools that I have personally used and that I do use. And oh, there's a breeze coming in and it's really nice, to rock your digital storytelling. Okay, so this whole series is brought to you by my book. And do you know what's funny is that I was looking around my office to find a hard copy of the book. I have given all of them away that I had. So if you have a hard copy of the book, congratulations. I need to apparently purchase more copies so I can have one. If you don't have a copy, get it on Amazon, write me a review, and that's about all I'll say about that. But I do go into a lot more detail on each of these topics, of course, in the book. So what we're going to cover today, we're going to talk about getting client stories, which I know can be the most challenging for a lot of organizations, and I'll show you some examples. Staff member stories, volunteer story, donor story, and community story. What does that mean? What is a community story? Oh, hi, Jill. She says she's watching from Bettendorf, Iowa. Amazing. I'm so excited to have all of you here live. I know it's different time zones, and I just appreciate you guys being on. So you want to grab the storytelling collection worksheet. If you are an official storytelling summer school student, check your inbox. You will have received it. You don't need to opt in again. I sent you the direct link to the download. So make sure you check your email. If you're not a storytelling summer school student, you will need to opt in. Just go to jcsocialmarketing.com story worksheet. That's going to help you a lot when we end this training to complete your homework assignment, which I am going to give you a homework assignment. So why 5 types of stories? So obviously there could be 10 million different types of stories that you could tell. But I find that organizing your thoughts and your story collection efforts into 5 different groups is going to help you just stay focused, and it's also going to help you avoid overwhelm. Some of you will be able to collect more of one kind of story than another kind of story. And some of you will want to focus 100% on client stories or 100% on, volunteer stories. I caution against focusing 100% on one kind of story, because I think people need to see a wide breadth of your organization. It really needs to, the stories need to address the knowledge gaps that your audience members have, that maybe your potential donors have. And multiple stories just keep things interesting. Rather than sharing the same story out every single time, you want to make sure that you have a variety of stories. We've got a couple more people. Renee says, sorry, I'm late. That's totally fine. I'm from Westchester, New York. And Maria says, hands in for hands-on Tri-Cities in Eastern Washington. Amazing. Welcome, Maria. So we've got a really good variety of people here today. I love this Venn diagram, and I don't know where I found this, and I really feel badly because I want to give attribution to whoever made this, but I saw this years ago, and I want to make it into a poster, and I want to actually get it and mail it to every nonprofit organization in the United States. This is the basis of storytelling. So obviously you have a million things that you want to tell your donors, and they are very important. And I don't think you should never talk about your organization ever, but understand that the donor wants to hear something different. They want to hear about the impact. They want to hear that they, even if they donated $25, $5, $100, whatever it was, they want to know that they're helping build something, that they're helping create a better world with their donation. So that's very important. They also want to know that they're valued, that they're special. They want to know that they are really a part of your community. People love to be a part of the community. So how we help solve a problem, that is the sweet spot of your nonprofit communications, especially the nonprofit stories that you're telling, which we're going to talk more about. So list out the 5 types of stories. We already talked about that. This is just my experience, and you might think of different types of stories that you can collect, but think about your audience also. These are sort of the 5 types of stories that they will understand. Most people understand what a volunteer is. Most people understand like what a board member is, what a staff person is, what a client is. These are things that people understand. So if you get too complicated and too into the weeds, you might lose people. Completely depends on your audience and depends on your message and also your goals too. So the number one type of story that resonates, we all know this. I call it client story. It could be a beneficiary. So it's not about your organization. Oops, sorry about that. It's not about your organization. It's about what you bring to the table in terms of impact and accomplishment. The lives changed, the ways in which the world or the community has been improved. It can feature data points. It's not data driven. It can have some data in it. And I do talk a lot about this in the book, how to incorporate data. I might go off on a little data tangent here just for a minute. I think that the kind of data that you share should be proving that you know what you're doing. So it should be doing two things. It should be proving that, first of all, it's a problem. Like, is hunger in summer a problem? Yes, it is. And I actually saw an awesome Facebook ad from No Child Hungry or No Kid Hungry campaign. And it gave a statistic about how many children go hungry in the summer because they don't have the free meal programs at their school. So it was a data point that I didn't know that kind of caught my attention. And then it told a story of a child and then how obviously that program had helped the child and said, donate now to save the summer for children like Sarah, which I thought was a great way to do it. So incorporating data to make sure people understand that it is a problem and you're helping solve it. Just a little bit of data. You don't want to go too far into that. The focus should really be on the impact. Benefits, not features. So not, we served 100 people this year. Well, okay, then what happened after that? And like tease out the story of one person that you helped. Another thing that is important to know is that these don't have to be the actual people who went through your program. They could be spouses, they could be family members, they could be alumni, they could be people tangentially associated with your beneficiaries. Oops, I didn't mean to switch it. So this is the Greater Boston Food Bank. Truly, truly an amazing video. If you get the slides afterwards, I hesitate to click on it because I'm not sure about the technology and where it's going to take us and what's going to happen. So if we have some time afterwards, maybe we can play these videos. But if you click on the photo when you get the slides afterwards, it will go right directly to the video. Greater Boston Food Bank is crushing it on social media with their amazing, amazing videos, their awesome stories. They're also doing really well on Instagram. This is a story, and the screenshot is terrible, but this is a little mini video on Instagram, the story about Stacy and her daughters. And then they have an entire section on their website about our impact and their stories, which I think is incredible. And I think everyone should have that on their website, have these success stories. And I know this organization, the Denver Rescue Mission, they absolutely share a lot of stories like this on their website. They take you to their newsletter. They do this on Facebook. They do it on Instagram. But I love how they write, most of John's life has been spent in and out of jail. And I'm so sorry about the slides. They're like taking over. This is why you have to watch live, because then you get to see me mess up because the PowerPoint is completely possessed. But I love the way they frame and they write the stories to go with their photos, to go with their Facebook posts, okay? So I guess it's time to go to the next slide, PowerPoint says. So staff story. Even if you only have one part-time staff member, they have a story to share, okay? A common riff that I've seen is the founder story. I mean, we've all seen the founder story. And that's one that might be appropriate for organization or might not. What I love about the founder stories that I've seen is that what need did they see in their community? So what was happening in the world? And they said, wow, I can make a difference. I need to make a difference. I need to start an organization. And if any of you are founders out there or executive directors or board chairs, you all know how difficult it is to start and maintain a nonprofit. So what motivated them? I want to hear about their motivations. I want to know what they saw. I want to know the struggles that they endured. Obviously, it wasn't all unicorns and rainbows. When you start a nonprofit, it's definitely not like that. So I want to hear about the struggles. I want to hear about the why. I want to hear really in depth their story and what happened to them. Also, just a note, choose the staff member wisely. This might seem intuitive, but it's something that I've seen over and over again, where the staff member has a great story to share, but they're not necessarily enthusiastic, or if it's going to be in video, they're not really great on camera. They're really uncomfortable. They're really awkward. So that's completely fine. And you might want to cut it into shorter stories or maybe write a blog post about it. But if it's going to be one of your videos, one of your stories for your year-end fundraising campaign or your Giving Tuesday campaign, it's really got to be the best of the best. It has to be enthusiastic. I have to be excited. I have to be motivated. I have to be energized by this person. And that's just important. This person might actually be you, and that's fine. I've seen development directors. This is Julia Sherahook from Peabody Essex Museum in Salem. They're a fantastic local museum here. And she wrote a whole blog post all about Giving Tuesday and why Giving Tuesday was so important and what Peabody Essex Museum means to her, and then her experience seeing the mission in action. So this is a really great way to showcase a staff member, I think. This is the Heart Center. They showcase a lot of their doctors. They showcase a lot of their nurses, a lot of their orderlies and their staff people. They also have a huge cadre of people to pull from. And they're very comfortable sharing their stories. This is, if you have heard of Pencils of Promise, this is Adam Braun's story. He also wrote a book called The Power of a Pencil. I think the book is called that. But he has a fantastic founder story, and you can find that on his website if you just click on the photo. He went to India. A lot of children were asking him for pencils. It spawned this whole idea that then became Pencils of Promise. But it's really, really well written. It began with a question. What do you want most in the world? And then he talks about a lot about his struggle, what he was going through at the time, why he went to India, and how he formed the organization. I think it's really great. Okay, let's see. Oops. Oh, we're going to go to Pencils of Promise. So let's see. This is Cradles to Crayons, another fabulous organization. If you click on the photo, when you get the slides, you can play the video. All about Lynn and her experience, seeing a need in her community, why she started it, and what it means to her. Okay, volunteer stories. Your volunteers are the lifeblood of your organization. I'm willing to bet that a lot of you rely on your volunteers. You might even be an all-volunteer organization. So thinking about what motivates the volunteers. These can be used to recruit more volunteers, or they can just be used to kind of showcase, like, people are so psyched up about us and so excited for our mission that they volunteer their time. It's just another great way to showcase what you do without really talking about your organization. You're talking about the people, the heart and soul of your organization, the people that give you their time every day. So great volunteer stories, that can be the person who comes and licks those envelopes for your annual appeal. That can be the president of your board, they're a volunteer. You know who your volunteers are. When I worked at a domestic violence program in Virginia, we told stories of our hotline workers because we had challenges. Well, we didn't have challenges. We literally could not legally show our clients because they were in actual danger, active danger. We could tell stories of our alumni and people that had gone through our program, which we did sometimes. But we found that our volunteer stories were really powerful because a lot of times the volunteers had either grown up in a household where there was domestic violence, maybe they'd experienced it themselves. So they were a little bit more willing to share their experiences and why they were working on the hotline and some of the calls that they got, some of the situations that they helped walk people through and help people get help. So it showcased the importance of the hotline, the importance of what we did, the support groups, and it also really made the volunteers feel appreciated and acknowledged and heard. Like what they were doing was really important, which what they were doing was incredibly important. It was a 100% volunteer staffed hotline. You had to get so much training to be able to work on this hotline and answer the phones. I couldn't believe that people would dedicate all of these hours. And then you had to take a certain number of shifts a week. It's a 24-hour hotline. I mean, really big deal. So we did a whole showcase about those volunteers. Macmillan Cancer Support, this is so wonderful. They showcase their volunteers all the time when they have campaigns like this, which is, that's my dad, people telling stories about their dads, people showing pictures, the 3 words that they want to use for their dad. Just really, really fantastic, wonderful, wonderful stories. And then they can obviously take a picture of her and put it up right away. They don't need photo permissions. They don't need to go through lengthy legal process. They just need to ask her if she's okay with it, and then tell her story, and thank people. And then if you'd like to join, if you want to join this campaign, if you want to be like Victoria, this is the way that you do it. I really like that call to action. Best Buddies, also fantastic example of showcasing volunteers on social media. And a lot of the ways that they do it is that they showcase their beneficiaries with the volunteer. So they usually pull out a great quote like, "My friendship with Sarah means the world to me. We've been matched for a while, but I know I've made a friend for a lifetime. I'm so grateful to Best Buddies." So and this is a share from Instagram. You can tell this is the little repost app from Instagram. They do this a lot, and I love it. Obviously, they ask permission before they do this, but they have so many volunteers and so many beneficiaries and so many people out in the field doing work for them that they get these user-generated stories from their volunteers, and then share them on their Instagram, share them on their Facebook page. They have a concerted effort to do this. So they're focused, they're strategic, they're thoughtful about it, and they monitor, the hashtag Best Buddies Month. They monitor people that are mentioning them, and they share these great stories, and they really let the pictures do the talking for them a lot of the time. This is just one of their great posts. St. Baldricks is another great example. They have a huge group of people that fundraise for them. They shave their heads and raise money for St. Baldricks voluntarily. That's what they do. It's amazing. And they usually do it in honor of someone. So this is Megan. I love this. This is what she did. I feel very strongly that childhood cancer is underfunded. This is why I did it. And then you can learn more about her. You can sign up. Obviously, this fantastic, energetic, wonderful picture. So check out St. Baldricks if you are on Instagram, on Facebook. They do a great job. I actually wrote a blog post about their strategy for raising millions on Facebook. I think they reached the $1 million mark. So when I talked to them a while ago, they were raising hundreds of thousands of dollars just using Facebook. They have such a good strategy. It's on my blog. I will post it in the comments. I will post the link to that. It's really a case study about how they do it. It's pretty cool. Number 4 kind of story, donor story. Wouldn't you love to be contacted by an organization that you donate to other than to be asked for money? I know that I would. So I would love to share my story about why I give to certain organizations and what motivates me and my personal story. I would love that. It's just another way. It's sort of like a win-win for everyone. You get a great story. You get to showcase your organization in front of other people who might want to be donors, and the donor gets to feel acknowledged and thanked and heard. It's really a wonderful way to showcase your work while showcasing your community. So, not talking about, we're an organization, we're so great, here are our clients, we're so great. Donors are our partners. These are investors. They're building this with us. That kind of conversation, that kind of language, they're making an investment in this. They want to hear from you, okay? The donors want to hear from you. They don't just want your quarterly email newsletter. That is 27 articles all about your new board members or your new office setup, or I don't know what is in some of these email newsletters. No, they want to hear from you. As long as it's impactful and as long as it's a story and as long as it provides value and is of interest to them, they want to hear from you. And they like to hear from each other. So they're low-hanging fruit, right? Unless they want to be anonymous. But obviously you would not contact anonymous people. If they don't want to be anonymous, even if they're small donors are sometimes the best ones to get on camera and to tell their story. Because if I see someone that gives $25, I relate more to that person than someone that gives you $500,000, right? If you're having a major donor gala, then yes, tell the stories of the people that are giving you major gifts. But if you're doing an online fundraising campaign or Giving Tuesday or year-end fundraising, tell the stories of the little people and, you know, how even though they have trouble making ends meet, they still want to give to you. That can be much more impactful, I think, than a really wealthy person giving to you. But you kind of want to mix of both. And obviously there's politics involved, who you ask, who you don't ask. But that's just kind of my perspective. Having another donor vouch for you is a very powerful form of social capital. And nonprofits absolutely live and die on social capital and their reputations. So the more you can build up your reputation. Oh, this is a great video. I wish we could show it. It's a video of a beneficiary, and also they're not together, but they kind of clip in the story of a client who was helped by this organization that helps poor women, and a donor who doesn't have a lot of money but gives every month to the organization. So I encourage you, get the slides, click on this photo. It's called The Story of Bobby and Ia. And I dare you to have a dry eye after that story. Really wonderful storytelling, especially featuring donors. Cape Ann Animal Aid. I thought this was a really cute campaign they did during Giving Tuesday, because if there's one thing I can't stand on Giving Tuesday, it's the same old boring, give to us because it's Giving Tuesday, okay? That doesn't make me want to give to you. I don't give to you because it's Giving Tuesday. I also don't purchase on Amazon just because it's Black Friday. I mean, sometimes I do, but I usually have to have a specific thing that I want to purchase, right? So I don't give to you because it's Giving Tuesday. I don't give to you because I get a tax write-off. I don't give to you because it's year end. I give to you because I support your mission. So you need to get over this, like, give to us because it's Giving Tuesday, because that's not compelling. That's just not interesting. And I love the little twist that Cape Ann Animal Aid did on Giving Tuesday, where they had a bunch of their supporters spend 24 hours in the kennels, in the dog adoption kennels, and they did meal times and socialization, and they experienced what life was like for an actual animal awaiting adoption in the shelter. And the great part about this is that Cape Ann Animal Aid actually took all their videos and compiled them, but each of these people on their own Facebook profiles shared with their own networks to raise money. So the reach, like the exponential reach of that, is incredible and very, very powerful. So think about different ways that you can share your supporter, your donor stories that are really creative ways, like this one. I like this. It's not really a story about the donor, but I really like to include it because it's just a cute little graphic that you could easily do. Thank you. This came in. We love you. This is what's, it tags the organization. Let me just go back there. It tags, Wild Calling. It's good, yummy food, Potrero Hill Bathhouse and Feed Co. Muttville does this a lot and put a little video there, and it kind of tells a little mini story in this, but it's good exposure for the donor. It's good exposure for your organization. Other people might say, hey, I didn't know you take donations of dog food, and then talk to their company about donations of dog food. So you see where that goes. Increased exposure is always good. Okay, community story. When I say community story, I really mean community member story. So this is a member of your community that doesn't work for your organization, maybe volunteered before, doesn't have to volunteer. I'm thinking specifically about the way we did it at the domestic violence organization I worked at, we talked with the executive director of like the Rape Crisis Center. We talked with the president of the local university because we served a lot of their students. We talked to the chief of police and how, domestic violence related homicides had gone down in the last quarter, all of those kinds of things. Social capital, social capital, social capital. So exploit your social capital. We also had the mayor. We had stories from city councilors. Who in your community would be willing to talk about the great work that you're doing and share a little bit of a story? Social proof, social capital. And I mean, you can't do it alone. Like, none of you are working in complete and utter silos, because something that I've learned from working directly in nonprofits as a staff member and now working as a coach and a consultant is that there's never one problem. There's never one problem. You're solving a piece of a problem. There's usually a lot of holistic services that have to go into helping your clients. So showcasing those partners, helping people understand the piece of the puzzle that you are solving and how everything fits together, I think is really important. It's educational. It raises awareness for the cause. It's probably part of your mission also to be educating people and getting them to advocate for the cause. But also it's just good practice to let people know, hey, we're not in this alone. We don't do this entirely by ourselves. These are who we work with. And here are some of their stories. They vouch for us. MakeAWish, care doctors. Obviously, MakeAWish doesn't do everything by itself. All they do is partner with other people to help provide the wishes. They're the conduit, they're the organizer, but they oftentimes acknowledge their partners. Pencils of Promise, I love this. They work with so many different companies and corporations and have so many different sponsors, but they get these people usually to write, this notes from the field column. And that's Jeff Bauman. This is David Klein, founder of Common Bond. He visited Ghana because he invests. He believes in investing in organizations that are changing the world. And what he learned from Ghana, obviously he's a special case. You're not going to get every corporate sponsor to, write a blog from the field, but who would. I have a feeling right now, you have in the back of your mind, maybe a couple of people that would. Social capital, social proof. Jeff Bauman, he's a celebrity. So I just used this because it's a great example of using a celebrity when you have one. He is kind of the face of the Boston Marathon bombing victims. He lost both of his legs in the bombing, and he was served at Boston Medical Center. So Boston Medical Center, did an entire series about how they stepped in at the Boston Marathon, what they did, their doctors, their, everyone else. So actually, hold on. This is very annoying. It won't let me do that. So click on this. Their website is amazing. It's called BMC, and I'm going to type it in here, bmcstories.org, and just go to the website. It's incredible. It's so good. It will have videos pop up, and it's got a lot of weird animation in the beginning. But once you get through that, it has 3 things you can do. Look at the stories, sign up for the email newsletter, and donate. That's it. I wish every nonprofit website was like that. If I had my way, it would all be like that. Read our stories, sign up for our email newsletter to get more information, donate. If you're looking for a website redesign, look at bmcstories.org. Okay, let's go forward. I don't want to click on it because it's going to play it. Okay. All right, so we will hide that. So your homework for this week is to commit in the next 48 hours. Maybe you're doing it during the broadcast, which is amazing, to making a list of the 5 stories. In addition to that list, think of 5 people that you can speak to that might be willing to share their story. So it's not preferable, but all 5 could be from one category. 2 could be from one category. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be one story from each category. Like, do what you can. Do what you think is the low-hanging fruit. The key is to get these stories. This was all just to give you some ideas of places that you could look for stories, and then fill out that story collection worksheet. So you might have to print it out 5 times, or make 5 copies of it, because each of the worksheet should be really used for one story. And just commit in the next 48 hours to be doing this. I'd love for you to share it in the Facebook group, or even to just email it to me. If you have my email, I will totally take a look at it for you. Oops, that's not right. I pressed it too early. Julia@jcsocialmarketing.com. That's my email. If you want to email it to me, your worksheet, and let me take a look, I'd love to. Please just email one. Don't email all 5. Email like your best one. All right, so we'll go through the lesson plans next week. These are the 6 lesson plans that we have. This is what I have in store for you. Once again, it's sponsored by this book. If you would like to get it, it's on Amazon. And that's all I have for the slides. So I would love to take some Q&A if anyone has questions. If not, go enjoy the rest of your day. I will post all the relevant links in the comments. You'll also be getting a follow-up email with a link to the broadcast, a link to the storytelling worksheet, a link to the Facebook group, and you'll be getting subsequent emails next week to remind you about the next lesson. So you have your homework, you have your assignment. Make sure you commit to collecting these stories and telling these stories. Oh, and Barbara says, I'm here in Tacoma, Washington. Actually, my favorite cousin, I don't want to say favorite, but she kind of is my favorite cousin, Emily Canay, lives in Tacoma, Washington. She's a Yankee fan, but we will forgive her. And Clarence, I know you're a Yankee fan too. But she lives in Tacoma. I went to visit her. I thought it was beautiful. I saw the school from 10 Things I Hate About You and had a ball and went to Seattle, and it was amazing. So Barbara says, I work for an interfaith organization that focuses work on our local crisis of homelessness and ending family homelessness. Thanks for coming today. All right, make sure you jump into the Facebook group. If you have questions, I can always take them here. I can take them offline. I can take them on email. You have my email here. And I'm just so excited to be with you on this storytelling journey. So enjoy the rest of your beautiful day. And I hope you're having a fantastic, fantastic summer. So take care. Bye.